Now over here, this is metal sheeting. This is big stuff. This is really big stuff. This actually didn't come out of the access portal. This stuff came out of the 100,000 gallon holding pond that's over there, which we're not going to see today, but there's pictures online. We'll do it some other time. But there's 3 of these. These things are huge. I think this was sheeting from around potentially the upper part of the silo. You probably have to ask somebody smarter than me as far as missile silos goes. I'm not sure, but these are big. They're big chunks. But these 3 were stacked in the bottom of that. It was a nightmare to get them out of there. Matter of fact, all this dirt there, you can see how the dirt is piled up, and it actually is much more than you can see. All of that dirt, you can see how I call it a parking lot. It's a little parking area that I made when we were digging out the pond, the 100,000 gallon pond. All that dirt came out of there. Lots of concrete. Like I said, about a third of that pile that we saw first came out of the holding pond. Okay, we're gonna stop and we'll walk over here. Here now we're walking on the oxidizer or the fuel stand. I forget which is which. I actually think this is the oxidizer stand. Could be the fuel stand, I'm not sure. This box over here is actually the hardline communications that came into the 571-1. We're gonna put it back up someplace. Here's rebar, giant 2-inch rebar. This stuff is monster. Big stuff. This is stuff you get down at the Missile Museum. You buy it in 1-inch chunks. This is some of the sheeting, so this would have been the decks from the stairs that went down in the access portal. Hey, there's a lizard, check him out. Hey buddy. So we pulled, you'll see more sheets of this stuff. We pulled this out of the access portal. This is part of the missile silo door. These are the only pieces I've been able to find. This stuff is really big, really thick, really heavy. These came out of the 100,000 gallon holding pond. I think this is part of the internal structure of the missile bay door, not necessarily the the outer cover. It's big stuff though, but I don't know. And then the little piles of dirt that you see over there, we took the stuff out of the access portal, most of it because it was too deep to really get the excavator in, so we'd put a mini X in the bottom when we got deep, and then we would fill up these big metal boxes, and we'd take the boxes out and we'd dump them over here and then go through them, separate the metal from the rock. We tried to deal with some of it, but it was a fast-paced 5 days that we dug this thing up in, so we really didn't have time to separate it all. But in our downtime, we would separate it and put it in its piles. This big pile of metal right here, this is most of all the stairwells that were down in the access portal. Best I can tell, it looks like they collapsed part of it. I think the lower 2 levels were fairly intact, although they were rusty and they were a bit beat up, but they were still generally where they should be. The upper 2 tiers were pushed down and laid flat up against the wall. And these are the big chunks of rock, lots of big rock. Some of these were kind of scary to get out. This is the biggest thing we pulled out of the access portal. There's a manhole cover in there. It's one of 3 that we found in the access portal. This one was still in there. When we got into it and we uncovered this thing, we couldn't see that hole. The only thing we could see is this top part. We could see, matter of fact, not even that one because it didn't have a hole in it. Must have been this side. Nope, that one's got a hole in it. Must be the other side because there was no hole in the top of it. We thought it was one solid piece of concrete. And after getting out these pieces, which were in and of themselves very difficult, we were really concerned about what we thought that was. But it was the last thing remaining as we were down there trying to figure out how to get it out. We discovered a portion of this hole. Joe actually discovered that there was a hole in here, but we couldn't see it. We dug down to it, and then it dawned on me as he was describing it that it was a manhole. So I thought it's one of the electrical boxes. I saw one on Atomic Ranch that they were pushing down a hill, and it was one of those. And sure enough, that's exactly what it was. So it was hollow. So we were able to run a line through one of the holes, attach it to the metal structures inside, and it was a chunk, but yep, pulled it right out. Manhole cover, communications manhole cover still intact. We've got 3 communications manhole covers. We haven't found an electrical or a propellant yet. I hope to at some point. This particular rock right here was a bit scary. We got these 2 out at night. There's just Joe and I pulling most of this stuff out, and so he was in the bottom with a walkie-talkie. I was in the excavator with a walkie-talkie, and he'd get the things hooked up and then hide in a corner someplace, and I'd take them out. Here's the boxes that we filled up. We have 2 of these, and we just pull these, in and out, in and out. We estimate that there's about 25 of those boxes for, the depth of that. There's a lot of boxes, a lot of material taken out. There's only about 3 feet of material left. We're getting the rest of the metal out. I don't know if we're going to hand shovel it out or get a mini X back in there and finish it up. We could literally open the door today, but we're not going to. We're waiting. Here's another. This is a big chunk. Most of this stuff looks like the ceiling stuff. We didn't really find anything, that wasn't, as a concrete wise, didn't seem to be part of the access portal roof. No antenna stands, no things like that. Lots of probably silo debris, large rocks and chunks like that. Here's a giant piece. This is like 2-inch rebar. This stuff is amazing. It's crazy heavy. It's crazy big. We pulled a bunch of that out of there. Not nearly as much as some of the other rebar that we pulled out, but I love that stuff. It's huge and it's cool. And then all this dirt. And yeah, what you have to understand is the whole time we were doing this, we were not only pulling stuff out, but we were also trying to get rid of stuff because I didn't want to get into it and then have tons of debris. But you can see there's still plenty of debris left to deal with. So even though we were trying to keep up with it, there's just no way. There's not enough people, not enough time. So here's that bigger pile of concrete posts that would have been in the ground, placed in different places. I've been really worried about, trucks running into stuff because they had a bunch of these. Here's a pile of the rebar. Any channel that you see, that's part of the stairs that came out of the access portal. The white things are lights. There were lights that were pretty much destroyed on the sides of the access portal and then down underneath in the alcove where the elevator mechanics were. There's the expanded metal, the gate that separated the main part of the access portal from the elevator alcove. So that's what the expanded metal is. This is a bag. Before we actually got in there, we were thinking about using bags instead of these boxes that we use, but they would have worked, but there was so much concrete debris that we just really didn't think they would hold up, and so we used the boxes. Here's steps, stairs, channel, I-beam, all this stuff. There's more decking. All this would have been the staircases going down and the decking. It really got jacked up, but it's cool that it was there at all. So there you go. That is where we're at today, Saturday. What is this, the 28th, 29th, something like that. There's some more stuff we need to go through. There you go. That's a walking tour of all the debris that we've pulled out of Titan II Missile Silo 571-1.